So, uh, Maria Montessori said, "What the hands do, the heart remembers," and that struck me this week. Um, but in the few days before I do this, I sort of wait for inspiration to strike about uh, what what I'm going to talk about. So this quote came up: "What the hand does, the heart remembers." And I thought that we've heard a lot about hands since this lockdown began, and we have to wash our hands, and we have to be aware of our hands touching our face, and we're not allowed to touch strangers. And we've become a little bit afraid of our hands in case they are uh, carrying disease. So today, I just wanted to give our hands a bit of attention. So we can begin by just looking at our hands, bringing our breath into ourselves, bringing ourselves home, and just take a moment or two to look at your hands. Look at the backs of your hands, at the skin going over the backs of your hands and your knuckles, your nails, the palms of your hands, and all the lines and markings and the way the light hits the palm of the hands. And just imagine that you're looking at your hands for the first time. But at the same time, these are the hands that we've had since we were a baby. So with these hands, we've learned to crawl. They've supported us when we've fallen over, when we're learning to walk. We've learned to eat and feed ourselves, and to write, to hold things. And our hands are unique to us, and we have them um, unless we have some sort of accident. Then we have them from birth right until the day that we die. So our hands are so important. So we're just going to start by moving our fingers a little bit, just get the blood moving in our hands. One of the interesting things about hands are that they actually work like a marionette puppet, because we don't actually have muscles in the fingers. So when we move the hands, when we move the fingers, it's the muscles from the forearm and the wrist and the palms of the hands that are pulling on tendons and ligaments in the fingers, just like a marionette puppet. Um, so if we just now maybe bring our hands together, and this is something that people might associate with prayer. And I remember as a child at school, we'd put our hands together to pray. What it actually signifies is an end to outward activity. So it's just taking some time to bring everything back into the self, back into the center. And if we just hold our hands like that for a moment and just feel the warmth of the palms of our hands in contact with each other. And there are places where we can feel maybe the pads at the fingertips in contact, and then there might be spaces at the knuckles or right in the center of the palm of our hand. So just bring our awareness into the hands and into the warmth and into the places where the hands touch. Just be aware of this as a centering kind of pose as well, that we're bringing the awareness into the hands and into the center, bringing the selves back home. And another thing we can do then is what's called a butterfly hug, because I think we're all craving physical contact at the moment. So we can make our hands just like a little butterfly, and we just tap ourselves on the collarbone, just like that. Just keep doing that. And in Chinese medicine, we have the lung points come up all around this area, and the lungs associated with sadness. So it can be very comforting to just tap ourselves along this area, along the collarbone. And we can put even our hands on our chest. I don't want to put it over my microphone. Put it over the chest and just feel the warmth from our hand. And we might even be able to feel our heart beating. When you're ready, feeling relaxed, you can just let your hands rest in whatever way is comfortable. And if you haven't already done so, you might like to close your eyes. Bring your awareness into your breathing, into your hands, and notice how your hands feel. If they're warm, if you can feel the spaces between the fingers. And when we bring our attention to our hands, we might remember some experiences that our hands have had. Some might be sad. The hands can be used as weapons and for defense. And we might have other memories that make us smile. For example, we might think of the first time we held hands with a boy or girl that we liked, and the feeling that gave us or gives us even now to hold hands with someone we love. And we can think of all the things that our hands do for us. You know, we use them to cook, to dress ourselves, to present ourselves to the world. You know, with our hands, we write emails, we write, we make our thoughts organized and manifest into the world through our ability to write. And with our hands, we also create boundaries. We push things that we don't want away from us, and we draw the things that we do want or that we love towards us to bring them close to us. So our hands create a boundary between ourselves and the outside world. And that boundary acts on many levels. I mean, physically, the hands are right at the end of the body. Beyond the hands is the rest of the world. Symbolically, our hands hold things at bay or draw things towards us. So there's a connection between the hands and the heart. And it is said that in our hands, our heart is made flesh. In our hands, our heart is made flesh. So Nelson Mandela said, "It is in your hands to create a better world for all who live in it." Not to give anyone too much responsibility, but you know, if we think of this, the palms of our hands, the backs of our hands, the fingers, the knuckles, perhaps you can imagine someone you love. It might be someone from the past, or someone from the present. It might be someone who just exists in your imagination, someone that you love. You can just imagine them holding your hand now. Imagine that warmth. The hand of someone who cares, holding your hand. Maybe you could have someone on both sides, someone you care, two people that you care about, whether real or imaginary, holding your hands on either side. And you can imagine the hand of someone who cares about you, someone you love, perhaps on your lower back as well, giving you support and strength. And we communicate this with our hands. You know, some people speak a whole language with their hands. And through the course of our own lives, we wave so many hellos and goodbyes with our hands. And so while they're a boundary, they're also connection with the people that we love. And these gestures, every time we wave to someone, whether it's waving hello or waving goodbye, it's a message that, in fact, we care. It's a message from the heart through the hand. Hello. We put rings on our fingers to symbolize our love and commitment to other people. And when we need help, we ask someone if they could lend us a hand. And we in turn lend a hand to help other people. Sometimes I think of human beings as being like a jellyfish in a fleshy spacesuit. We have the brain and the central nervous system and all these parts that run out, but the brain and central nervous system that runs down through the spinal cord couldn't survive on its own in the world, you know, because of radiation and sunlight, and the feelings would be overwhelming. So we have this spacesuit of flesh, and you know, these most exquisite instruments that allow us to interact with the world through which we move. And the hands actually bypass the conscious mind. For example, if something is too sharp or too hot, we don't have to think at all about, oh, should I move my hand away? Should I mean, the unconscious and the mind work directly through the hands to decide, can I carry this hot pot for 2 seconds to make it to the surface, or do I need to drop it right now? My hand is in spikes. We don't think, do I take it away? We do that automatically. And so we have this connection on an emotional level as well. The hands create our boundaries and work below the level of consciousness to keep what we need close to us and to keep what we don't need at bay. So all the experiences we've had with our own hands, from making print marks on the wall of a cave 40,000 years ago, to children making handprints now in play school. I remember how much I love doing that myself, because our hands are profoundly related to our sense of our own identity, because they connect to the whole of our experience. They connect profoundly to the person that we are. As Gandhi said, you can't shake hands with a clenched fist. In our hands is both strength and peace. And we have the choice. We have the choice from the heart to decide how we use the hands that we have. And the hands connect us to the universe in different ways. For example, the length of the finger bones correspond to the Fibonacci sequence, 2, 3, 5, and 8. So our hands connect us in many ways to the world and to the universe we live in. Giving a round of applause, clapping our appreciation, giving a helping hand. Our hands are a vehicle for our heart. Just sit with that idea for a moment, just breathing. Bringing our awareness to our hands. Bringing our awareness to our heart. Aware of our breathing. The movement between our breathing, our heart, and our hands. Perhaps you can feel some warmth in your hands. Perhaps you can feel the space between your fingers, backs of the hand, palm of the hand. We can just gently start to move the fingers a little bit. Just notice how they feel. Notice our breathing. Wiggle our fingers. Wiggle our toes. Perhaps begin. Take a nice deep breath and open the eyes. And just be aware of that glow that runs from the heart that we feel through the hands. And perhaps you'll be able to carry that a little into your day, through your day with you. And I hope you're in good hands for the day. And if it's only your own good hands that you're in, then that's good too. When you're ready, I don't know, are you all back in the room? But that is the end of this morning's meditation. I will see you again on Thursday.